What is going on? Good Sunday morning. I am BB. We're here a little early with the I-71 Playbook podcast because it is Super Bowl Sunday. So we're coming to you a little bit early today. But with me, as always, is BC. How are we this morning, sir?
Happy Sunday morning, BB. I'm contemplative today. Contemplative.
Oh, okay.
Super Bowl Sunday is always one of those days where I'm contemplative because I've never experienced one with my team. So,
right,
and as we'll get along, as we'll get on in the pod a little later, this one has been extra contemplative this week, just because I'm going to say that my saddened fan heart realizes the Browns are very, very far away from a week like this. And we'll get into that. The murder of the Cleveland Browns that happened on Radio Row this week by one Myles Garrett. We'll talk about that later. But so contemplative is my word for today, BB.
All right. Well, there was a little bit of good news though. It's not all doom and gloom. The Cavs made a bit of a deal, bringing in DeAndre Hunter, and only really having to get up. We let go 2 guys. Looks like 3 second-round picks, and then they just swapped 2 draft picks. So I mean,
I don't think we've been giving Kobe Altman his due. This guy's been on a heater the last couple of years. Kobe Altman should be executive of the year in the NBA this year, regardless of what happens. But the Cavs, one of 2 teams you can make an argument right now, number 1 team in the NBA, along with Oklahoma City, and they went back and forth in their 2 games, 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
The Cavs had a clear deficiency. They didn't have any size at the wing, at the 3.
No.
And one of the things in the NBA it's really hard to do is it's hard to win without size in the 3. And so with not a lot of room, not a lot of salary cap room, Kobe Altman went Dumbledore and brought up a little magic here. And not only did he get a 6'8" wing with a 7'2" wingspan, who is having his best year of his career. He's been really the second best player on Atlanta this year. Not only did he get him, so now you have a starting 6'8" wing that can now guard Jaylen Brown and guard SGA. You have a guy who now you can put out there. You don't have to worry about switching, Darius Garland on a guy at 6'8". That's pretty awesome. He's a scoring threat. He's gotten really good this year. Of just getting the ball and shooting. He's not really a play creator, but he doesn't need to be on this offense. He just needs to catch the ball and shoot.
Hey.
Or drive. Not only did Kobe Altman improve the team with the best record in the NBA, he also cut salary with this move, which is crazy.
We always love that.
So I mean, Dan Gilbert's gonna be a happy guy right now. This was a heck of a trade, a heck of a coup he pulled off. So you got the Cavs, who best record in the East. They're better than they were. Karis LeVert's leaving is going to hurt. But he was on expiring contract. This was expected. Expiring contracts are like gold in the NBA. So this was this is why they're super movable, because you can get a guy like DeAndre Hunter. George Niang, I guess he was great in the locker room, and so was Karis LeVert. But George Niang wasn't playing any playoff minutes. He was not going to be in a rotation in the playoff. Kudos Kobe Altman. The Cavs, the rich are just getting richer at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Good for him. Good trade. I'm excited. I'm super excited to watch DeAndre Hunter with this team, and it might take a little bit to, get the glue together and get going. But yeah.
They can have some sleepovers at each other's house, little team building exercises. It'll be amazing.
Well, and it's cool too because we're getting right around the All-Star break. that's a good time for him to get in the gym with the other guys. I realize the Cavs
Yeah.
have three guys that won't be there. Three guys on the All-Star team. Congratulations, Darius,
Congratulations.
Evan, and Donovan. But he'll have some time to kind of get acclimated to Cleveland, to Kenny Atkinson, who is just, once again, talk about Kobe Altman being executive of the year. Kenny Atkinson, he's got to be a front runner for coach of the year.
Mhm.
Cavs are in good shape. Cavs are in really, really good shape.
Really?
Which it's good to say that 2 to 3 franchises in Cleveland are in pretty good shape.
Hey, and you know what? As Meatloaf has statistically taught us, that 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So there is that.
What a song that was! What a song!
What a
the
song!
The loaf.
Although, here's a pro tip, and this, don't ask me how I know this. Don't ever say, I'm just going to do one more song on this Meatloaf album when you're working out, because now your workout is now 4.5 hours. So don't do that.
He was an entertainer.
He was hell of an entertainer.
He was an entertainer for sure.
Yes, he was. Speaking of entertaining,
by the way, kids, if you don't know what we're talking about, just go on YouTube and Meatloaf and YouTube any Meatloaf video. You'll immediately understand what we're talking about.
Good stuff.
Absolutely.
So speaking of entertaining, our Ohio State Buckeyes made some news this week. Some congratulations are going out today. Finally, after a number of years, Mr. Brian Hartline is our new offensive coordinator.
It's like Brian Day listening to our pod.
Hey,
did we not call for this last week?
I think we did.
Yeah, for sure.
We did. But also, speaking of Ryan Day, he got a hefty contract extension. He is going to be with us for the next 7 years, and now I'm
beep. That would be the Brinks truck backing up.
Yeah. just a dump truck of money to that man.
Wow.
And so now that's going to leave me. I'm cautiously optimistic, because what I didn't realize, and I was kind of digging into this a little bit. Hartline was actually our OC in 2023, but Day was doing the play calling.
Yes.
So, and I'm going to say this, and I got to do it. This is going to be, there's no excuses for anything this year for Ryan Day, because here's why. You are coming off of a national championship. You have one of the best recruiters in the country now attached as your OC. You have an embarrassment of riches on your staff and on your squad. There's no excuse. No.
I'm laughing because, throughout the experience of our pod, we all know that BB has, had her issues with Ryan Day's tenure as the head coach of the Ohio State University. That being said, he won a national title, and BB wants more.
I do.
He's not satiated.
No, because I'm a football fan, but I'm also an Ohio State football fan. I'm also a realist, and now let me explain. Those things kind of intersect in really weird ways. Am I happy he won the national title? Absolutely. At the end of the day, he's all right as a coach. I'm not going to give him too much flowers, but when you come to Ohio State, the standards and the expectations are above anywhere else, just because of the program and things like that. So your main goal is to beat the team that is an hour and a half to the south of me. That's your main goal. And he's failed multiple times. You also have the expectation to win the Big Ten. We failed there too. So those are the two things that he needs to do this year. There's no excuses as to why not.
Ryan Day, like and subscribe, by the way. I-71 Playbook Podcast. We'd love to have you. Ryan Day, just so you know, DB is 100% correct in everything she said. You got to win the conference. You got to beat Michigan, and you got a week here too to celebrate that national championship. And you've been out recruiting and looking to fill your DC your defense coordinator position now. You did the right thing by promoting Brian Hartline. Let him call plays.
Yes.
And I think we learned one thing, that Ryan Day is better as a overall manager of the squad than he is calling plays and worrying about that part.
Yeah.
Not that he's a bad play caller, just there's his talents are used better on game day elsewhere.
But I'm really what I'm really excited for Hartline though. I mean, he's an Ohio boy through and through.
Oh, absolutely. Canton
Born in the football capital of Ohio, or the country, really.
Yeah. The birthplace of professional football. State. Yeah. Like I said,
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, he played high school about 35 minutes from here. So I'm super, super happy for him.
And, to even tie it all together, he even did a little stint in the Browns. So.
Yeah. He had a year.
To kind of go back, you mentioned, there's a lot of rumors going around about who we're going to pick for the DC. We've had some names, there's been a lot of misinformation that we've got somebody, what we've got. All we have right now are rumors. Ryan Day made a comment Friday, I want to say it was, that they're really, really close. They're putting everything on the finishing touches on it. They were hoping by this weekend to get it ironed out. If not this weekend, early next week. So we should be hearing something within, the next couple of days. But it sounds like there's about 4 guys that they're going back and forth between. 2 of them are internal, so that'll be cool. Just kind of elevate them up. They already know the system. They already have a rapport with some of the guys, so that would be
already understand the culture, which is, when you come from the outside in, is always the hardest part to learn, is the culture.
It is. It's really, really hard to learn all that. So currently in the running is our safeties coach, Mr. Matt Guerrieri. And if I mispronounce that name, please forgive me. I apologize.
But like and subscribe.
Though. Or teach me how to say it. And come on the pod and teach me. It'll be fine. Our current secondary coach, Mr. Tim Walton. But then we've got a couple external candidates. And these are kind of some interesting names. One of them he's got a big day today. And he is the current defensive lines coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. And that is Mr. Joe Cullen. So that could be a little interesting to put it in there.
And just conspiracy hat on. Maybe why they haven't named one yet, because they couldn't name them until tonight. Just saying.
That is a good good idea there, and it's entirely possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the final name that's kind of been really, really swirling around is the current coordinator out of Pitt. This guy is one of the best defensive recruiters in the country too. So you've got one of the best for offense, possibly teaming up with the best recruiter for defense. I was never really good at math in school, but that means a lot of trouble and chaos for the Big Ten.
Yeah.
But I would love to see Randy Bates come in.
Yeah, I was going to say, admittedly, you've done more research on this than I have. Is Randy Bates your front runner here from Pitt?
I would either go with him or I would go with Walton as our secondary coach, and it could have to do a lot with the scheme that was run. But I mean, as we saw in the playoffs, our defense was pretty locked in, pretty on point. And that has a lot to do with the personnel, a lot of which we're losing this year. There are a couple pieces that are returning. But they obviously had to have a strong lead in the secondary. So if it came down to 2 for me, it would come down to Randy Bates from Pitt, or it would come down to Tim Walton, for me.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a horse in the game right now. I'm going to trust Ryan Day. He nailed the last 2 coordinators.
He did.
And so I'm gonna trust him, and hopefully they get it right and they go on to defend.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. So
the reason why we are recording so early today is, as I mentioned, it is Super Bowl Sunday. It is the Oscars of football. It is all of that.
By the way, sorry. Did you? I don't know if you watched any of the Grammys coverage last week.
Admittedly, not much.
Okay. I was made aware. I wish I had the capability to share this right now because I didn't think to prep this for the pod. If you haven't seen it yet, and this is for anybody who's listening, please just Google Jaden Smith Grammys.
No, I have seen that.
Okay. That was brought to my attention last night, and in case you didn't know, he's literally wearing a model castle on his head. Literally wearing a model castle. Anyway, I just totally went off the I-71. I took an off ramp there for a second. But back to
that's all right. Little construction detour never hurt nobody. That's all right. And trust me, one thing I-71 knows about is construction.
There's a bit.
But there's been a highlight of the Super Bowl week. There's always like different activities, and it's nonstop build up to the game tonight. But there has been an absolute highlight, and I don't know if you've seen any of this. I don't know whose idea it was at the NFL on Fox to make our quarterback, Jameis Winston, a media correspondent, because he is absolute media gold. He's living his best life. He is on Bourbon Street. He's tossing out Dove beignets everywhere. His interviewing, so they actually have him in the pit with the reporters, and he's asking questions, and he's just getting these guys to break. He gets Chris Jones, who is, pretty defensive heavyweight for Kansas City.
Stoic.
Just yeah. Boom. So he asks him, and he leads into it. And he's all serious, and he's like, "Chris, I know there's a lot of people asking you questions today, and I'm going to ask the questions that's really hard and that everyone wants to hear the answer to. What's your favorite color?" And he got Chris Jones to do what you are doing right now and start laughing. I just, you know what? And I hate the fact that he's now a free agent. I don't know if he's going to stick with the Browns, because he was also asking that. He's like, "Where do I go? Where should I go?" Like, and it bums me out because he is an absolute just gem. He really is. He needs to get into broadcasting.
Jameis Winston.
Or teach Tom Brady a couple things, because that man is just electrifying.
Jameis Winston, buddy. Friend of the pod. Maybe someday. Love to have you. Like and subscribe. Jameis, you asked publicly a favor from God just 6 weeks ago to deliver you from pick sixes. We all remember that line.
We do.
I think God's doing that right now, buddy. He's putting you in the broadcasting booth. He's putting you in the media. You won't throw pick sixes in the media, bud. Just saying. You've had a good NFL career. You've gotten paid, but maybe you follow that Pat McAfee route to stardom, and you become the next media sensation for NFL. This might be God's plan for you, bud. This might be the deliverance from the pick six that you asked for. Anyway, just take them. Okay, so back to Radio Row.
Yeah. So also this week there was. We would not be talking about Cleveland Browns if we would not be having controversy, and our controversy comes at our own Myles Garrett, who did say at the end of last season that he's having talks with the front office, that he doesn't think he's got another rebuild in him, and now this week it came out that he is publicly asking for a trade from Cleveland. So you and I have some thoughts. You had a lot of thoughts the other day.
I did indeed.
I don't know if I have ever seen you that feisty. The phone call I got on a random I don't know, it was Tuesday night or whatever.
Wednesday or Thursday, whatever it was.
Whatever. I get a random phone call and you are just raring to go. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, those are big feelings, buddy. Like, okay, let's talk. Let's talk about it. So let's get into it. Radio Row. Let's hear it.
So Miles, on some specific card stock that Dunder Mifflin probably charges extra for, wrote a demand to be traded last week. Came out Monday, and in this he actually used Andrew Berry's words. Andrew Berry said, "We want Miles to go from Cleveland to Canton," and Miles said, "I don't want to go from Cleveland to Canton. I want to win a championship, whatever." Yeah,
right.
I had a major issue. I still do. Like, I have.
You do.
A major issue with the way Myles Garrett has handled this and doubled down and tripled down and quadrupled down and quintupled down and so forth and so on, of dragging Cleveland through the mud. And that is what he has done in this trade demand. He strategically waited for Super Bowl week when he knew everybody was going to be in New Orleans, where he was going to be. He puts this out. He is the lead interview over the Super Bowl. He's the number one. He's the number one topic in the NFL. And he continuously buries a team that paid him handsomely, that took care of him for 5-6 years on a personal note, who, despite what he said, stuck by him when he tried to murder Mason Rudolph with a helmet. I
remember that.
And the Browns have a lot of faults. They have a lot of faults. We talk about them weekly on here.
Oh, yeah.
But Miles' unprofessionalism this week is beyond the pale. It's beyond the pale. What he did was juvenile. What he did was clout grabbing. Once again, whether or not he knows what he did, him saying that he went to LeBron opened wounds amongst the fan base in Cleveland of LeBron doing the worst exit until maybe this one.
Yeah, well, okay.
In sports history, to this fan base, to this very fan base.
That's where I got spicy.
That has done nothing but support him. And whether or not he doesn't think, and I heard people in the media, "Oh, this isn't about you. Don't take it personal." No. It is about us. And the way he made it about us with the way he's handling this.
Yeah.
And yes, I had some choice words. I have evolved on this. I had evolved on this. Yeah, I can't use the choice words on the pod.
Usually it's me that has to restrict the sentence enhancers, but so and you're not wrong in anything that you've just said. And kind of taking a look at it myself, I'm just, at first I was like, yeah, you know what, I get it, because he watched Joe Thomas literally sacrifice his entire career. He did go from Cleveland to Canton. And when he deserved so much more for the kind of player that he was, the kind of man he is.
Joe Thomas never played in a playoff game.
He did not. However,
11 seasons, never played in a playoff game.
So let's talk about that for a second. So Miles has played in playoff games. He's actually played in 3 of them. And over 3 playoff games, 1 sack, 1 solo sack, 5 tackles, and 3 assists.
Absolutely been a no-show and a non-factor.
So what's up, no stats?
Yeah, and that's another issue I have too. When they have had success, Miles wasn't there. Not that he didn't help them get there, but in those big games and those big moments, Miles is not there. And we all know the old knock on Miles was he's really good in September and October, but where is he in November and December? And I've always defended him.
You have,
because I said there's been very few fiercer defenders of Myles Garrett than me.
That's true.
And which is why I think you were so surprised at my reaction to him this week, because I've been a big fan of his.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, I evolved on this topic. Miles, good riddance. Like, whatever, get out. You don't want to be here. Get out. Get out. Go. I hope you never win anything ever. I really do. I will be the first person on this pod laughing my tail off when the Browns are a playoff team and wherever team Miles goes to is 500. But that's near here and there, pipe dream, whatever. Second of all, Miles acting like he has a say in where he goes because he named every good team in the NFL that he would love to play there. I'd love to play in Detroit. I would love to play in Buffalo. Oh, I'd love to play with Jaden Daniels in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, first of all, so you know, Miles, the Browns own 4 years of your professional life. You're under contract for 2 more years. You also can be franchised twice. You can be franchise tagged twice. So just stop. Just stop. Second of all, shifting from, as you said, I understand why Miles is frustrated. I understand why he wants out. I totally get that. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with his behavior, the way he's going about this. That's where my problem is. Like I said, he's unprofessional. And
what tipped my hand, though, was when I found out that he consulted LeBron. Now, for those of you who don't know LeBron's shaky history with the city of Cleveland and their fan bases, you know, very famously held the entire NBA hostage for an entire offseason. He literally had teams that were flying in agents to Cleveland, and it was like he was holding court. And they were all trying their best to get him, to come to us, come here. So he decides.
I was going to say, he had his building downtown. Okay. It wasn't Clutch Sports at the time. I'm trying to remember. Was it IMG? Was that the agency he owned?
I think it was IMG. I don't remember.
That him and Maverick Carter owned. Anyway, that doesn't matter. But there was literally ESPN, Fox News, all the major sports outlets were camped out on that corner just to get glimpses of what executives were going into the building to talk to LeBron's team.
Right. And so if all of that wasn't enough of a spectacle, he decides that he's going to go on ESPN in a live special called The Decision. Now, what you would think to do is every step of the way, tell the team who drafted you, who literally bent over backwards, had their executives, kowtow to you and your cronies at every step of the way. You may want to give them a step also along the way so that they can prepare. He called Cavs management roughly about an hour and a half before this thing was set to go live and says, you guys don't want to watch this. And then he goes to Miami. So basically what you did is you took the hometown team who you grew up watching, and it was your dream to play in the NBA and to play for the Cavs.
At least that's what he said.
You took that, you held them hostage, you crippled them because they now can't go out for free agency. Because he also waited until it was too late for us to be able to redo anything to rebuild after him. And it's basically like you're dating someone. It's a toxic relationship. The relationship is set to end. And then they go to announce the way that they're like, well, they can't pick up the phone and have a conversation, say, this ain't working out. We're going to go your way. I'm going to go mine. No, you make a sex tape with the next team and then basically make your former team watch it. Live on national television. So the reaction, the instantaneous reaction that Cleveland had, there were people burning their LeBron jerseys in the streets. And for a number of years, he was hated in the city of Cleveland by a large majority of the people because of that. Because Cleveland fan bases, and it doesn't matter the sport, it's across the board. We are passionate. We are rabid, and we are loyal. So, just like you said, if you don't want to be here, get out.
Cool. Go.
Well, here's my other question, though. just to play, I want to play a little bit of devil's advocate. Okay? Go with me here. He puts out in the media, he's thought about this long and hard. He wants to leave the city of Cleveland because he wants a ring. And then we've got the fan split where it's, hey, I get it, I understand. The other half is, if you don't want to be here, pack your stuff and get out. We had someone else roughly around the time that LeBron left the first time that did something very, very similar. Zydrunas Ilgauskas wrote a love letter to the city of Cleveland saying, this will always be my home. This was
but
where
he still lives in Cleveland.
He does.
People spot Z all the time.
Office?
I don't know if he's working for the Cavs or not, but I do know, like I said, I know he lives in Cleveland because people talk about seeing him all the time out and about. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hard to miss.
I actually, funny story, just to kind of inject a little levity here, so I'm not completely Malik Zaire-ing everybody.
By the way, I have a funny Z story also.
I was fresh. I think it was actually like my junior or senior year in high school, working at a recent business who in the news has recently been canceled, and their logo is red and white, and it's a circle. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. Just as a cashier, so all of a sudden, this guy comes through who is massively tall, has like 3 cartloads full of stuff, and he has, an actual, like a normal size guy compared to him next to him. And they're speaking in his native language, and his English was a little broken at that point. And, he was very nice. And I said, thank you. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the haul of stuff that you literally I think he was furnishing his apartment or his house or whatever. So all of a sudden I have like the cart guy who's running up to me, who's about to pee his pants. He might have already, I don't know, but he comes up to me like it's Christmas morning. He goes, do you have any idea who that is? Who's going to tell me if it rains first? Like, he's tall as all get out. Like, what the hell? He goes, that's Zydrunas Ilgauskas. I go, bless you. And he goes, no. He's like, he plays for the Cavs. I go, well, that makes sense. Just, I had no idea who he was at first. But so let's get at your story, and then let's get back into.
I was up at a really close friend of mine was an executive for the Cavs for years. And so when she first started working for the Cavs, she was kind of in charge of all the in-game activities of anything that was not basketball related that happened during the game, she was kind of in charge of. Mm-hmm. And so she did like all the contests at breaks and stuff. So I'm there and I happen to be at the game, and she's like, hey, you want to do this shoot around on the court between the third and fourth quarter? And she's like, we'll get you floor side seats for the second half. I'm like,
oh, wow. Yeah.
No, I'm there, and I got Sketcher boots on. I'm not in my, I'm not prepared to go on the court there. And I'm not the greatest basketball player, but I'm not awful. I'm not terrible. I can play. So anyway, I go down there in my Sketcher boots, and I had to hit so many shots from different spots, and I would win like a $500 gift card to Giants.
Okay.
I missed like my first 11 shots.
Oh no!
Just like ice cold. And I am getting booed.
Oh, no.
This is in the midst of LeBron's second trip. I'm getting booed.
Oh no!
I finally hit a couple. I get my complimentary $100 gift card, whatever, for participating.
Oh.
I sit down, and we were right down from the Cavs bench. And I sit down, and we're laughing at my failure. We're having a good time with it. I got booed at that time at Quicken Loans Arena. Can't laugh at yourself. Who are you gonna laugh at, right? Z walks right beside me. Now, once again, he is a tall human being.
He's a very, very tall man.
And I look up at him, and he goes, rough night, little man. Just walks away. I just
Oh
like,
my god, that's hilarious.
Z gets it. Z gets it. He kind of has a sense of humor. So it was, my one little interaction with him was comedy gold. So,
Oh my gosh. Oh my god,
um,
that's so funny though.
but back to what you were saying about, Miles and the car
So
wash this week.
so yeah, so why is it now, you have Z who did the same thing, and he was upfront and honest about it. He's like, I want a ring. And we were like, you know what? Go ahead. And then he's still loved and welcomed into the city of Cleveland. Um but then and Miles is actually he's a small minority owner in the Cavs.
Yeah.
So I get you're frustrated and I get you want to win, and it's not about the money, and it's not about the stats, and it's you want a ring, you want to play for that ultimate goal, and I get it, but at the same time, there is definitely a way to do it. And just like you said, the Browns have the opportunity to make the possible like villain move of all villain moves. Because yeah, he has 2 years left on his contract, which was an extension of his rookie deal. He has no guaranteed money left. His cap hit would hurt us, but whose cap hit won't hurt us? And they can pull again the ultimate villain move and hit him with the franchise tag and lock him down for the potentially the next 6 years.
Until he's 33. Until he's
So
33. They absolutely own his prime.
they do. And here's the other thing. And will they do that? I think that's the poison pill option, I think, is as a last resort, personally.
Andrew Berry has shown zero, what's the word I'm looking for? He's not going to do it. Anytime somebody's want to get out,
right.
he's actually worked a pretty good deal for everybody who's asked out, except
Right.
for David Njoku, who was glad that he didn't leave, and who's now on Radio Row with no shirt on, begging Miles to stay. That's a whole different. The Browns have been gold on for ESPN and Fox this week.
Yeah, we have. But the only thing that I would say as a caveat, if you choose to do that, if you choose to do that poison pill option and slap a franchise tag on him, lock him to Cleveland for 6 years.
Or no, they got him for 4 years, 4 more years for sure. They could hold him.
I thought a franchise tag was 4 years.
No, franchise tag's 1 year, and they have two. They have 2 franchise tags. They can put on him. 2 years, you can do it.
All right, my bad. Thank you.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine.
But the caveat that I'm going to give to this, though,
trust me, it takes a minor in I don't know economics to try to understand NFL contracts. They're crazy.
God, they're insane.
And the NBA is even worse, by the way. The NBA contracts are even worse.
Oh yeah. The only caveat that I would actually throw out there, if they do choose to do this, they could potentially have a situation like Miami just had with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler wanted out. Miami was like, no, you're not. First of all, you don't hold the leverage here.
Right.
You have a contract with us until X amount of days. So suit up, do your job, and catch a check. Because that's what these front offices also need to do is, it's a contract is an agreement, a legal agreement between two parties. You can't just go in because you're pissed off at your boss the next day and be like, no, so you can deal me somewhere else. No, you are here until this piece of paper in my hand says so. But the thing with Jimmy Butler is he was pouting and he was refusing to participate and he was refusing to do all these things. And it just turns a bad situation into even a worse one. And it's embarrassing, it's distracting, it's horrible. We've had enough in the Browns organization, distractions, locker room cancers. We don't need to create another one. And I know, Miles was very clear about it. He's like, I don't have another rebuild in me. Denzel Ward has also come out and said, I don't have another rebuild in me either. And you kind of hinted at this. This kind of tips the hand that we are a lot farther away from being an active competitor in our own division, in the league, again, which is sad, because obviously, as football fans, we want our team to win. We don't want our team to be the joke of the league. You know, we don't want, you don't want to be the measuring stick for complete and total failure, because you never go full Browns. You never go full Browns.
So here's, you know me, I am the opposite of knee jerk when it comes to sports. I try to be very deliberate. I try to think through everything. I guess in my fanaticism, that's where I'm a little different than the average fan who just something happens, they blow up. I did blow up the other night because I just could not take the way Miles was behaving. I'm still angry, and like I said, I go. But
we switched roles.
So here's where my evolution has went, though. I did try to, in the last couple of days, what prompted Miles to want this. And as we have both agreed, he is more than justified to want it. The Browns, he sat through a season where they didn't win a game.
Nope.
He sat through the rebuild of all rebuilds in NFL history, when they brought Sashi Brown in here just to be a headhunter and cut everything, get draft picks, get assets. You have Miles, number 1 pick overall. You get the number 1 pick the next year. You get Baker Mayfield. You get Denzel Ward. Now, just right there, okay, Myles Garrett going to Canton. If Denzel Ward can put a couple more seasons together and stay healthy, he's a potential Hall of Famer. Like, I don't think people appreciate the career that Denzel Ward has had.
Right.
He's been a top 3 defensive back his entire career, even from his rookie year.
Yeah.
Baker, and we can get into all the Baker drama in Cleveland, but he's a Pro Bowl quarterback now. He's a franchise quarterback in Tampa. You had a young Nick Chubb, a young Kareem Hunt. You had the best offensive line in football. You had a decent defense. You had all the ingredients to be competitive for a decade.
Mm-hmm.
The Browns, no matter what the confluence of circumstances, Baker getting hurt, Odell's dad, whatever the confluence of drama that seems to surround this team since they've been back since '99.
Mm-hmm.
The Browns made bad decision after bad decision after bad decision.
And continue to. Truthfully.
And continue to. And I completely understand a guy like Miles saying, I still want to do the same. And he has that right.
He does.
What he doesn't have a right, and what he doesn't understand, because it's clear he doesn't understand, when he goes public with this and acts the way he did, he makes it personal between me and him, between you and him, between every Browns fan who's watching this pod. He makes it personal. Whether or not it is personal, but we're the ones buying his jersey. We're the ones defending him when he tries to kill Mason Rudolph. We're the ones, screaming on message boards that he should be the defensive player of the year and TJ Watt shouldn't. We're the ones defending him against the national media. We've been the ones in his corner.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, whether or not Miles understands this, he's going after us when he does what he did this week.
And like I said, the Cleveland fan bases, especially Browns fans, he would have been okay. I'm telling you, not an average Browns fan, but had he just done what most people do, told the Browns he wants to be traded, leak that to the press, not say a word, go on the Radio Row, say, hey, that's between my agent and the Browns. I'm a Cleveland Brown right now. What the future holds, that's all he had to do. Right. And not one Browns fan, well, I don't want to say not one, but Browns fans in general would have been like, we get it. Miles, we get it. You've given everything you could to the city. But him going out and acting like a child is the problem. But
here's the evolution of my thought that I was telling you about.
Okay.
Andrew Berry, you should be fired. And as you know, I have defended this front office.
You have. You and I have gone toe to toe on it for a number of years.
You lost a franchise quarterback. You signed a sexual predator, allegedly. We're not even going to say allegedly anymore because he paid those women off. So obviously there's something there. You gave up 3 years of future draft picks for that meteorically terrible decision, even though, once again, I still believe it was Jimmy who did it. But once again, you have to sign off on it, your GM. You have not produced really much of anything to speak of glowingly in the drafts. Yeah, you got JOK, who may never play again. Grant Delpit's decent. Like, he's been a good safety. He's not a Pro Bowler. You hit on a couple trades, but you haven't been very good. And now you're going to have set up a scenario where the second best player in your franchise's history is going to walk and wants out.
Yep.
And we are talking a storied franchise with Hall of Famers. And this guy is, like I said, second to only Jim Brown, probably the best player the Browns have ever had. And, you're going to let him walk. And you're going to trade them, and you're going to give up number 2s that you're probably going to blow, or a couple number 1s, and you're probably going to blow those picks. And I just head should roll for all of this. Like I said, Miles, bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Andrew Berry, I've been defending you, but this is it. You can't keep a homegrown Hall of Famer content. You don't deserve to be the GM of this team. And
that kind of leads me into what I was saying was the fact that he's about to find out the fact that, again, Cleveland fans are passionate, they're loyal, they are rabid, they love hard, but we don't give a shit even harder. And you know what? It's like that. And he's about to find out, unfortunately. And you mentioned, what we are potentially going to get. And I have seen some outrageous potential trade, I
saw one. So funny you brought this up. Who was the quarterback? Yeah, it was Matthew Stafford for Myles Garrett straight up. And I'm like,
no,
he's a 37-year-old declining quarterback. Why? Go ahead.
The one that really made me laugh was, and my partner actually is the one who pointed it out to me, and it came out of Detroit or a Detroit fan page or something, and potentially it is the next 2 years, their first round picks, a second round pick, Hendon Hooker, and there was something else just for Miles. I'm like, okay, part of it makes actual sense. Because Hendon Hooker he's kind of in the same boat as Dorian Thompson-Robinson, where he didn't really get a fair shake in the league, because he came in and he was still injured when the Lions drafted him, and then was a backup for Goff, and he got really, really hot. But the whole time he was being mentored by Teddy Bridgewater, which that's not a bad, mentor to have as a coach. But he really hasn't seen a lot of playing time. And again, it's the same with CTR. He was brought in as a rookie under a QB, wasn't prepared, didn't have the right support. So both of them kind of got a fair shake. So what do we get?
So
I mean, he just turned 29. He's got
4 or 5 Hall of Fame level years ahead of him.
Right.
So here's like the conversation for me starts at 2 number 1s, next year's number 1, because the team that you're going to probably trade with is not a team that's going to be drafting high. And it's not going to be in the AFC. They're not going to trade them in the AFC. He's going to go to the NFC somewhere. It's going to be to a team that's competitive. So you're going to get a team with picks in the 20s. So there's two there. There's two there. This year's one, next year's one. I also say I want this year's two as well. So 2 1s and a 2. I think that's fair compensation for a future Hall of Famer in his prime who's going to maybe put a team over the top.
Could be that last little piece of the puzzle that they're just there.
Yeah.
They're almost there. They're knocking on the door, and they just need that one little puzzle piece.
And two teams I would look out for. Dallas is a team that would try to do this. I just don't think they can. But the two teams I really think, actually, there's 3 teams now that I think about it that can do this and pull this off. Detroit being one. This is a very Dan Campbell type of move. It's a big gamble for them.
Yeah. But
they're ready to win now. Those first round picks, although they've been, by the way, Detroit has been great at picking. Like they have hit on so many draft picks the last 4 or 5 years. Brad
Holmes has been amazing for turning that franchise around.
Absolutely. Tip of the cap. Minnesota, because of Quasi and Andrew Berry's relationship.
Okay.
I could see him going there in Minnesota once again. I mean, what are they? 15-2 this year? 14-3, whatever it was. Great year.
I think it was 14-3 because they lost both times to Detroit.
They lost yep. But regardless, they're there. They're on the precipice. Or Tampa. Tampa's another one. And I could absolutely see Baker going to bat for Miles. So those 3 teams, those are 3 teams that have really been perennial playoffs, but are not Super Bowl ready yet. Miles is a guy who can make you Super Bowl ready. We have seen Miles. He's not going to carry a franchise. He's not Reggie White. He's not. I'm trying to think of some players. The defensive player, Ray Lewis,
JJ Watt,
JJ Watt. Yeah, he's not that impactful. Like, he's impactful and he's important and he's a future Hall of Famer. But his impact hasn't really translated to wins. Hence 3-14 this year.
Right.
And he's consideration for Defensive Player of the Year. And once again, he 3-14. So if you're the Browns, 2 1s and a 2 this year, because if you lose Miles, you're in full rebuild. You need that draft capital. And if you can come out with 4 of the first 64 picks and you hit on 3 of those 4, you're right back on track. And then next year you go in and you have another 2 or another 1. And if this year, whatever quarterback you look at and you're like, this ain't going to work, then you got ammunition next year to try to get another quarterback. You just go back at it. And people are like, well, the Browns aren't going to take a first round quarterback 2 years in a row. Well, Phoenix did it a couple years ago. They took Josh Rosen. That didn't work. They took Kyler Murray next year. So it does happen. Like, you have to get quarterback right. You have to get quarterback right. And that's why the Browns they haven't got quarterback right. And the one time they had the right quarterback, they mismanaged it. The quarterback mismanaged it. Yeah, I'm putting some blame on Baker. It was, that relationship was a result of both sides.
Right.
But, getting back to this, what worries me is, I'm pretty sure Miles is getting traded. I don't know how you come back from what he did this week.
That's what I was just about to ask, is like, if Andrew Berry does pull a rabbit out of a very uncomfortable place, where do we go from here? Like, can we go forward with him after?
The fans will forgive. They'll be fine. They'll be cheering for him when he gets announced opening day next week or next year. But I just don't know how that happens. You know me, when this first happened, I said, well, the cap implications are so bad. The dead cap hit so bad. I don't see him trading him. That was before he went on this media tour.
Right.
And at that point, I'm like, I don't know how you keep him. I'm not sure how you hold on to him after, him dragging you through the mud. And so regardless, the Browns are going to look very different next year. I am happy now.
Yeah.
Denzel Ward did say he doesn't want to rebuild. He did not say he wanted out, and he actually came back out and clarified, "Hey, I did not saying I'm demanding a trade."
No, but he did say that he would have to think about his situation as well,
right,
if Miles
right,
goes.
right. Nick Chubb came out and said, "Now I'm a Brown for life." God, do we love Nick Chubb? Nick, please be a friend of the pod. Come on the pod. Come on, Nick.
Come on the pod, please.
You have to. We love you, Nick Chubb. We absolutely love you.
I actually have a Batman tattoo.
Yep. There you go. There you go.
It takes work. I'm just saying. Just no call.
But the Browns, yeah, it's just I guess after I had my blow up about Miles, whatever night I called you, and you weren't the only one who heard that, by the way. A couple other people got the brunt of my Miles wrath this week. But after I just got more depressed about the state of the Browns. It's just like they're not meant to ever be good. And I'm not a big believer that in curses. But I don't know what the Browns did to the football gods. They were taken away. I don't know what the fans have done to the football gods in Northeast Ohio.
I don't know.
But there's something like ethereal or supernatural about why this keeps happening to Cleveland. Like I don't get it. And it depresses me. So on that, let's shift gears. Can we shift gears?
We can, because this is coming a little maudlin,
It is. So let's talk about the unofficial holiday that is Super Bowl Sunday that we are potting on here.
National Buffalo Chicken Dip Day. What?
So I want to challenge you. I'm putting you on the spot here.
Oh.
I did not prep you for this question.
I hate when you do this.
And it could be anything. It could be from the game. It could be from the camera fixed on Taylor's suite. It can be halftime. It could be commercials. What is the single most surprising? Because always something crazy comes out of the Super Bowl. Every year something nuts comes out. What will we be talking about tomorrow about tonight?
I'm going to go with the halftime show. That's usually where all of the controversy and commotion comes out of. Obviously, we had Nipplegate, we had and what makes me laugh though, and it doesn't matter who the artist is that they bring out to do the halftime show. You are literally going to see videos tomorrow of people absolutely just picking this apart, going, "This was a satanic ritual, and it was all on television." And I'm like, they're singing a song about puppies. Like, what the hell? Like,
people wonder where we are as a society in this country right now.
Yeah, but that's a whole different conversation and a whole different pod with a lot more beverages. But I think it's going to come out of the halftime because Kendrick Lamar pulls no punches. Absolutely not. I did see a little bit. I didn't watch the Grammys. I saw.
By the way, my buddy Daniel has just recently introduced me to Kendrick Lamar, so I've been listening to a lot of Kendrick Lamar in the last couple of weeks. So I'm super interested. I would say I'm a fan. I'm super interested in this show because the guy does spit truth.
He does.
He just spits truth.
He pulls no punches. He comes with receipts, and you know me.
You love a good receipt, BB.
I love a king that comes in with receipts. Just yes. But I think it's going to be something. And, I did see the little snippet at the Grammys where he won for his song Not Like Us. And the entire sitting audience at the Grammys belts out a very, very noticeable part of his song. So it'll be interesting. But, but Taylor's not going to be the only diva in New Orleans this weekend, though. So I don't know if we should do a tally between whose box gets more. No, wait, hold on. Scrap. Whew. That was about to be not safe for pod. Who's
family friendly pod here?
Family friendly pod? And no. Who's sweet? We'll say that. Airtime. Who gets more airtime? So, this is why we don't pod on Sunday mornings.
Okay.
But all right. Guys, so what about you?
I was gonna say I want everybody in the listening audience to understand that BB is always on her game. It doesn't matter if it's Sunday morning, afternoon, midnight. BB's always on her game. Just okay. Sorry.
Just not today. Just not today. That's fine. That's okay.
Oh no, right, no. So I'm saying you're definitely on your game right now.
All right. What is the surprise moment for you that's going to come out of the festivities this evening?
You're actually the same exact thought process. I was. There is a confluence of events happening that are going to be beyond football. You have probably in Roger Goodell's suite, Donald Trump. He's going to the game, and you're having one of his most vocal political critics doing a halftime show right in front of him. I am, and as we said, Kendrick Lamar does not pull punches. So I think the discussion tomorrow, and the two teams I did not want to be in the Super Bowl are in the Super Bowl. So I really don't care that much about the game. I hope the game's entertaining. I hope both teams lose. But I think tomorrow's story is going to be Kendrick Lamar. I think Kendrick Lamar is going to replace Drake with Trump. He already buried Drake. He already won that battle. I think we're going to see some political fireworks. If this halftime show goes through and nothing like that happens, I will be the most surprised person in America.
Interesting for sure. And
like I said, I had discussions about this last night about the volatile nature that this could be tonight.
And talking about that, I've seen a lot of videos online from people who live in New Orleans and who have lived through Mardi Gras and all of the pomp, the circumstance, and the festive nature that goes along with Bourbon Street. But the people who live there are like, something don't feel right. Like something is about to pop off. Like that's what they're feeling. And hold on, for the FBI handler that is assigned to me, Frank, for all intents and purposes, this is a joke.
But Frank, like and subscribe. Buddy. If you're watching us, like and subscribe. Do us that favor.
And subscribe, Frank. Please.
The least you can do for invading our privacy, Frank.
Right. But they're just saying that, to put it in Baker terms, with his Philly Collins, they're feeling something in the air tonight, and I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah, and it's the last thing New Orleans needs after what happened on New Year's, and so
yeah.
Hopefully everything it's just a fun football game, a lot of happy people, a lot of really cool commercials, and we get to see what trailers and what movies are coming out. That's what I hope. That being said, BB, before we wrap up the pod today, prediction for tonight. Who is our next Super Bowl champion?
Well, I am really, really hoping that Jordan Mailata and the Birds get it done. They prevent the three-peat, and they dominate tonight. I want to see a fun game. I don't have a dog in this fight. I would love anybody but Kansas City to win. Just like you, I hope they both lose. The 50-yard line just opens up and just,
Is that scene from the Dark Knight Rises when Bane blows up Heinz Field?
Yeah.
and Pittsburgh falls in the pit. Like that was one of the happiest cinematic moments I've ever seen.
I
And
think I was actually laughing. I was laughing in the theater when I saw that.
I was like, "This is amazing! This is amazing!"
Yes!
Okay, so you got
with you.
You got the Eagles fly, Eagles fly.
Fly, Eagles fly, indeed.
Heart. I really don't have I don't have any heart in this game. I want Philadelphia to win. Just because I don't want Kansas City to win, and that's such a bad place to be for a fan.
It is.
I don't want Kansas City to win again. Because I just generally in the NFL where there's supposed to be so much parity, I don't like a dynasty. I hated when New England was a dynasty. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make a lot of sense that once again in a league that is so well set up for parity that we have a team that's going to three-peat. You would think I'd be a huge Eagles fan because their head coach is a Mount Union grad, Mike Sirianni.
Spent 4 years. Nick Sirianni went to.
Nick Sirianni. Mike's his brother. Nick Sirianni is a Mount Union grad. Played at Mount. With Iowa State head coach Matt Campbell, also a Mount Union grad.
Oh.
There's quite a coaching tree that has come from Mount Union and Larry Karras, who's the legendary head coach there.
Awesome.
So you think I would naturally just be a fan. I can't get behind a city that, well, their fans are just can be such garbage at times. Like I'm not once again
they boo
where Cleveland fans where Cleveland fans are pretty awesome and pretty loyal. Philly fans are just mean. They're just mean-spirited people. They just hate life, and I have trouble rooting for that fan base. But I really don't want Kansas City to win. You would think as somebody who is developing a relationship with State Farm, I would be all on the Kansas City bandwagon, but I am not.
No.
So yeah, I'm gonna just throw it out there. Philadelphia wins. They prevent three-peat. Kansas City does not make the Super Bowl next year. They'll be one of the top teams in the league. They don't make the Super Bowl. They don't win their AFC Championship next year, and then they come back rearing 2 years from now. That's my prediction. Write it down.
I need another prediction.
The internet's forever. What's that?
The internet is forever. The internet is forever. But here, what's the over or under, regardless of how tonight goes, that we see a proposal live on national television?
It's not happening. It didn't happen last year. It's not happening. They had the perfect opportunity after the game. Taylor ran down, jumped in his arms. Like, that was the moment. Travis, you blew it. By the way, Travis, what are you waiting for? We were talking earlier before the pod. You are worth only 1/8 of her fortune. And it's okay to marry for money in 2025.
Oh my God, stop it. No.
You will get alimony. You will get alimony, Travis.
Oh my God, stop it.
Come on. No, actually, once again, I am not a hater of that relationship either. I think Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are both really good human beings and wish them the best.
All right. Well, with that being said, this wild roller coaster Sunday, from the dog pound to the shoe and everything in between, I'm BB.
I'm BC.
And this has been the I-71 Playbook Podcast.
Like and subscribe. We'll have a lot to talk about next week, I promise.